Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Moment with the Mayor. I'm super excited to have Tom Fitzhenry, amazing community leader and veteran here in Richfield, with me today. So welcome, Tom. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
So a lot of people know about you and your leadership, but for some people who are meeting you here for the first time, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, been a Richfield resident since 1980, but started as a police officer here in 1978, then moved to Richfield. I figured, well, back then almost all the officers lived in Richfield in the community, so I moved into Richfield in 1980 and continued on until I retired in 2008, and then apparently I got elected to the city council and did 2 terms for the city council. So I've been involved in other community things like the All Veterans Memorial, and I really do support veterans since I am myself.
So tell us a little bit about your military service.
So back in the 70s, fresh out of high school, there was still a draft. And Vietnam was going strong, so I had been in Civil Air Patrol, which I'm still in now, as a young teenager for many years, and it's kind of military now, so I was interested in the military. Went to St. Thomas and joined a Air Force ROTC for a little while. But then the draft came up, so what I did is I wanted to make sure that I had an opportunity, if my number was pulled, to go into a service or a job that I would like. So I checked the Navy out, and they kind of assured me a job guarantee if I decided to join. And lo and behold, the ping pong balls is what they used, 365 ping pong balls with your date of birth on it. Mine came up 67, and I went, I think about time I joined the Navy. So then I joined the Navy, went into the Navy late 71. 1972, I was assigned to the Forrestal, which is a aircraft carrier, and did 2.5 years on the Forrestal in med tours. And in the Navy, I was an air traffic controller on a ship, which is a lot more fun because try to get planes to land on a moving target was more fun. Then got out of the Navy, came back here as a reserve, and going, well, there isn't too many ships in Minneapolis. Yeah. So worked with the Air National Guard. I was actually working at Anoka County Airport at the time. The Guard was running the control tower, and they put in approach control, which is radar. And I came over from the Navy, and I was fully qualified. And in fact, they made me the tower chief and radar chief. So then they said, this is silly, you maybe should join the Air Force. So I joined the Air Guard and retired from the Air Guard in 91. So.
Wow, that is an amazing story. And then to have that layer of your work in our community here in Richfield as a police officer, and then as a public servant in elected office representing Ward 3 East Richfield. How did your military service translate over to being an officer or city council member? Did it translate? How were those connected?
Well, for one, when you're young, you really don't know what's going on, but the military will wake you up real quick. You see what's going on. And visiting all the different countries on the cruises we were on, really got to learn different cultures and how to respect other cultures and how to deal with adverse situations. The day I reported aboard the Forrestal, we call it forest fire, but it was on fire. Wow. So you kind of go, okay, I'm going to get on this thing they nicknamed the USS Zippo. And so you kind of learn, okay, how to deal with adversity right away. Mm-hmm. And we had a few interesting events. One, we went through a hurricane on the ship that the waves were coming over the bow, and the bow was 67 feet tall. So, and we lost actually a couple of crew members on that because of how bad the hurricane was. So with that adversity, you kind of learn that you got to work together to stay alive sometimes. And in the police, it's kind of the same thing. You got to work with the community and work with others to kind of get mutual respect. And I think it was an advantage that I lived in the community because kind of interesting. I knew all the kids. Yeah. I knew all the parents. I didn't have to write a ticket, I just said, I'll go tell your dad. So that worked out pretty good. So.
Wow. Yeah, just hearing that story of the skills that you learned, that absolutely translates to both of your roles. Being able to sit in tension and difficulty and challenges that are communal and working well with others, those are key. That's really neat to hear that. Thank you. So tomorrow, November 11th, is Veterans Day. So talk to us a little bit about why it's so important to make sure that we're always honoring our veterans.
I think it's important to remember the past, why we're still a free country today. All my relatives were military members. I have 2 children that are still in the military. My one daughter recently got out, so they have a need to serve our country, probably the way I felt, because my dad was in, my uncles were in, everybody I knew, including one of my aunts, was in. And so it felt like everybody had to do their part to keep this country safe. And the Veterans Memorial over there, what's really unique about it, you don't have to be dead to be on the wall, is what I like. So we remember the current day veterans, and I have myself, my dad, and my 3 children on that wall to kind of say that we served and we're proud to be in Richfield and members of the military. And I think it's important to remember back in Vietnam, things weren't very well. We didn't welcome our troops home. And I think that wall kind of says we support our military. We know how important it is. And they're part of our community like everybody else, and we need to honor that.
Absolutely, an absolute foundational part of our community, and that memorial that we have in Veterans Park, I think it's one of the most beautiful things that I'm proud of in our community. And when people think of Richfield, they think about that art and that memorial. And when I think of Richfield and the history of Richfield, I think that we owe a lot of our community and where we are today as Richfield to our veterans as well. So absolutely, thank you for sharing that. So we know Hennepin County recently became a Beyond the Yellow Ribbon county, and Richfield has been a Beyond the Yellow Ribbon city for quite a long time. Can you talk a little bit about what that means?
So Beyond the Yellow Ribbon was actually started by the National Guard. And again, it was kind of what happened in Vietnam wasn't going to happen again. We welcome people home. And what people forget is when people are deployed, there's family members at home that might be alone, that might need help or assistance, or just somebody to talk to, or how do I get my sidewalk shoveled? How do I get my lawnmower fixed? And we don't have a major military base here in Minnesota they can go to. We have a guard base, they have assistance there, but it's not like we have a huge base here where they can go meet up with other people and get help that way. So Beyond the Yellow Ribbon really was a safety net for those people that might fall through the support network, being a military family.
And my last question, so tomorrow we have a great Veterans Day event. Can you tell us a little bit more and invite people to the event tomorrow?
Yes, I can. So at 5 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to do a Veterans Day celebration. And this was actually started when I was in the council. We really didn't have a planned event, so Mayor Gottel and a couple of us decided, I told them, I'm going over to celebrate. You folks can show up. So it's gotten bigger and bigger every day, and we make it so down-to-earth, community-oriented.
Absolutely.
So everybody has a chance to participate, and we even allow, I bring my little 3 cannons, which are the 3 volleys, allow a family member that's getting their name etched on the wall or somebody else to fire the cannon at. So it's really kind of a close-knit, really short celebration because of the weather, but it's just something we do every year in honor of the veterans.
Absolutely. So that's tomorrow at 5 p.m. at the Honoring All Veterans Memorial at Veterans Park.
Correct, yeah.
Great. So we invite everybody to join us. And lastly, thank you so much for joining me today, sharing a little bit more about Veterans Day, about the celebration, your own personal history and leadership here in Richfield. And thank you for your service to our community